Happy Saturday, people. I'm gonna share in this video how I generated 140 plus leads in less than 72 hours. So yeah, let's explore that. So I used Instantly to generate that. Long story short, I warmed up my 100 plus mailboxes in 4 weeks. Used ContactOut Ivy League lists. I tried cleaning with Apollo, not much results, not much cleaning to be done here. I would probably have a higher open rate if I would be less lazy, but the ROI is it's not super high. Or maybe for my long-term reputation, I should clean more. And if I would use Million Verifier here. Shout out to Million Verifier. I'll talk about the message that got me this, which is, hey, Charles, can I invite you to my CEO Wisdom podcast? Can I send you more info? The follow-up message I'll use to close 10% of these leads into clients. And yeah, I was expecting a bit more leads out of that one. Yeah, it's like 140. How much were you expecting? I was expecting 200 leads from that one. So I made the post earlier this week. I love talking about my experiments once they're live, like in the moment. So if you can follow me on LinkedIn, I'll be grateful for that. You'll get a lot of great information. But yeah, I expected 50 more leads than that. It sort of slowed down. There's limit on how much leads you can add in instantly and so forth, and how much you can send. But yeah, that was 2 days ago. So I said 72 hours, right? But according to LinkedIn, it's 48 hours here. And yeah, shout out to Dame and Senders for helping me with this campaign for deliverability. 12 hours, 87 replies later. So yeah, I expect 200 by tomorrow. Like, what can I do to get more replies? I mean, I could possibly, clean my data a bit more. That's what I would do for my next campaign. I could also target my very ideal customer persona. In that case, I targeted like Ivy League people, which are not my ideal customer persona. It would more be like a tech or startup founders. Here I went after CEOs, so it was a bit more ambitious in that one. So here's some stats. What I mean by Ivy League, I mean UC Berkeley is not considered Ivy League, but Stanford for sure, Harvard, and I invited them to a podcast. Right, you can see the 1% reply here. You can see the 1.9% with no cleaning, so that was leading experiments with the cleaning vs no cleaning. And yeah, actually you have better stats without the Apollo cleaning. Apollo cleaning is not really cleaning, by the way. That's the conclusion here. And yeah, Instantly's database, oddly enough, the open rate was sort of low. The reply was good, the highest actually. So these stats are interesting, right? I'm still not sure what to make of them. So yeah, the message, like I said, it's really simple message. It's this here. Would love to have you on my CEO Wisdom podcast. Stanford edition. Can I send you more information? Just want to make sure my mic is good here. Settings. Yeah, let me know. Okay, yeah, Mac microphone. So now you should hear me better. Let me know if there's an audio issue. So yeah, basically here, that campaign, it's a one step. I might add a follow-up step afterwards, be like, hey, I just thinking of starting a podcast this year. I'm pretty satisfied with my open rate. I've got them to like 30-ish% by my own by fixing some stuff. The warm-ups sort of helped here with Dame and Sanders. So what they did, they installed me here on Instantly, and yeah, you can check here the email account. They have a auto warm-up feature, right? So super important. We waited for 2 to 3 weeks until it was like 99%, 100%, and we're only sending 20 per day. So I guess I'll keep on like buying more mailboxes. I'm not sure how much I can plug there, but it's definitely efficient. Apollo had the warm-up features at once. They disconnected it probably with a Google beef because they're the biggest company, and they've lost a lot of feathers since then, right? Like no one almost on Apollo can get a nice open rates nowadays. if they're sending volume, if they're serious about cold emails. So I'm also exploring Salesforge for warming up mailboxes and so forth. Shout out to my friend Frank Saunders. This what do I reply to them once they're interested in the pod? So here I go in my Unibox and let's see here. Let's say that I get a yes from Prachir here. You go like this, reply to all, and then you put the template here, pod info. So this reply template, it's like, yes, I want to be on your podcast from Prachir, and then I give Prachir some info on my podcast, right? The thing is, I filtered these people from the get-go, right? So Ivy League school, people might scoff at that, but no, don't. Ivy Leagues are still a strong indicator of someone's worth. If they're smart, one, and if they have money, two. It, there's not no clear justificator, although I could go on with a list of them, but generally speaking, yeah, these people I found with my data that they're good fits, right? It's not my very ideal customer persona, my VICP, but it's close to it, right? So that is the first layer of filtering because I don't want schmucks on my podcast, right? Like they won't provide value, plus they won't be a good customer of mine as a result, right? And second, the second layer of filtering is in that message, right? So this message is like I'm starting with who I want on this podcast, right? I was a bit more intense before with like who I would filter, and it's like no schmucks policy, but yeah, like you don't want to scare away some other folks as well. You want like a nice equilibrium, right? And then what do I do when I get schmucks? Well, I always speak to people a couple of minutes before the pod starts, and in the first seconds, I can know if someone's a fit or not. If I'm not sure what I'll do, I'll switch from StreamYard, which is live, to Zoom, right? And this will give me the ability to publish or not. And on the Zoom, if I still see that they really suck, we can't understand them, they don't have much IQ, yeah, I just won't record it. I'm like, yeah, this is not a fit. Um, won't even apologize for it because I mean, yeah, sure, I reached out to you, but you need to add value. That's what you need to be in this world. You need to be of value. Um, Sometimes I'll start the recording, just for personal data and really understand how I can help them and turn the podcast in my favor, in which I am the one giving more information on the podcast and I give them tips. But that's a bit arrogant to do. But that's also a plan B, right? If shit goes wrong, if you get like a non-good fit on the pod. Anyway, so this message here, it shows where to find the pod, so I get traffic from this, right? This is pretty cool. So I get my audience from that. This is a double growth hack. I can get them on the pod, but I can also get them to listen to the actual podcast, right? What it's not, a PR tour, a pitch sessions about value sharing, blah blah blah. So that's important here. The topics. Past guests. So big names here. The audience. So I give them like a bunch of a bunch of info about like who is the ideal audience, and people still ask me, right, before they get on the pod. That is humans. I understand these people as well because they're busy, right? But yeah, I'm asking a little bit from them. I'm asking like 5 to 10 seconds of their time, right? If not 1 minute. Stimulating conversations aspect. So that's a pod format. Coaching me on your expertise, not really. But yes, your unique ideas, what I value. Book here. This isn't a fit. And then, yeah, I ask them to reply if they're in for that, because that gives me data. That should be on a separate line also. And yeah, I hit send on that. Then what they'll do, they'll book a podcast. So this is here, my calendar. Let's see. Yeah, I have a blog space starting soon, so I'll need to get off this live here. But see my calendar here; it's pretty stacked up. Yeah, I think my parents are coming around that time. To give people more options, but as you can see here, generally, like it's pretty booked, right? So yeah, they book there. I make the podcast interview happen, right? Then what happens once the podcast is done? Well, hopefully in the conversation, I should ask them great questions, which is a sign of intellect. Your greatest sign of intellect as a CEO and a founder, if you want to get your very ideal customer persona, is the quality of the questions that you ask, right? Um, Top people, they know that, like, yeah, if you ask good questions, if you're curious, then you are a good fit potentially for them. If they came on my pod, they might be interested in coming on other pods, right? So that's a signal right there. And I can pitch on my services. How do I pitch on my services after the pod is done and they know that I'm smart and potentially qualified to launch their own pods or get them on pods? I have automatic follow ups on Calendly, which I am working on. By the way, today I have multiple of them, and it's always about improving, right? It's always about testing, dropping messages and see if people reply, if people are interested into that. So that's my main form of follow-up. Why? Because Calendly always lands in the mailbox. It has like a 95% open rate because everyone uses Calendly, right? It has such a good domain reputation. Um, then I have my link content, right? My LinkedIn content, I post multiple times on a daily basis, various formats of video, short, long, newsletter, um, the podcasting, of course, the lives, right, which increases the trust, and hopefully they should get to know me and they should consume my content, right? I am not LinkedIn famous. I will be probably around this year. I'll probably explode, but for now, they can consume my content and eventually buy from that. I'll also subscribe them to my Substack newsletter. I sent one yesterday. Substack, I mean, it's free, right? All your Calendly meetings, which is what I used to book the podcast into Substack. And yeah, if I'm going to interview like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 people a week or meet with them on a weekly basis, then that means that, yeah, I'm going to get that much subscribers, high quality subscribers on a weekly basis, right? And then I send them more content directly to their email. In a previous video, I also talked about the LinkedIn newsletter. I'm quite bullish on that. There's LinkedIn newsletter. Everyone that's connected with you on LinkedIn will be automatically invited to LinkedIn, and then your newsletter will get automatically like 1,000 subscribers if you have 5,000 connections, for example, which is unheard of as a growth hack, right? It's like this video. It's pretty impressive, right? 150-ish leads in less than 72 hours. Well, LinkedIn, you can generate 1,000 subscribers to your newsletter in friggin' hours. It's crazy. So I'm all about finding these growth hacks, right? And finding where the growth is. It's in very specific spots nowadays. It's not in the obvious, right? The podcast funnel is not obvious. It's not like, hey, I'm going to invest in that ads and it's going to bring back some money today. No, everyone's doing that. No one is doing podcasting nowadays because the systems that I described, they may look complex, but once you have an expert like me set them up for you and automate them, it's one and done. And all you need to do afterwards is maybe a couple of clicks, and spend your time interviewing great people. Who doesn't want to spend time with mavericks, interviewing them, growing, asking questions, having fun, right? So people nowadays are quite lazy in the wrong way. There's a good lazy, right, which is being efficient, like I am, and there's being fucking lazy and being like, oh, I'm focused on doing these events and conferences. How much fucking time do you invest in conferences? It's terrible. You need to buy plane tickets to go there. You need to spend full days in there. It's fucked. It doesn't scale with anything. Podcasting, it's all done from a distance. It's all automated. It scales. It's 1% better daily type of philosophy, right? Because you create content, you grow your brain, you grow your network, you get leads, you get sponsors paying you, you get YouTube paying you. There's nothing like it nowadays. It's like five channel of monetizations. So it's like, oh, I don't want to sit down, and that's probably your ego speaking, right? Like a lot of people, they say they don't have time, it's not a priority, but most of the time it's their little ego speaking. They don't want to interview people, and that's it. That's the hack right there. It's like you need to make people think that you're the beta while you're the alpha, interviewing all these people and growing exponentially. I don't even call that selling my soul. I call that being humble and being curious, the right humble, right? Like not the scared humble. Um, Being the student, right? And that's how you grow exponentially. That's how you make money. I'd rather do that than sell my fucking soul and start make Mr. Beast type of content, or selling my body or something like a lot of people do, or getting in in doubtful industries, right, to make quick money. No, that doesn't scale. The sacrifice you need to make here is a bit of your time, but there's no greater ROI. Like just come on my podcast, come on a live, and try to tell me like some of your current time investment is better than doing podcasts. There's no other, because you also gather data about your ideal customers, right? It checks like a series of 20 important boxes, which are all priorities as a CEO: your thought leadership, trust, etc. So yeah, people are kidding themselves. If you're not podcasting this year, you're missing out. By the way, if you're gonna start a podcast, the classic way, you're gonna fucking fail. People think of podcasting in the common way, which is spending tons of money and time on equipment and interviewing lame people. Most podcasts failed before 12 months because of that. It's because people are stupid. They don't have systems. They just go and do it the common way, right? They rent $1,000 an hour studio. They hire that fancy agency to make their podcast sound like fucking Gimlet. But that's not how you do it. You do it the Charles way, the efficient way, the gathering way. By the way, my podcast, if you look at the views, it's shit. Like it's like 1, 5, 10 views. Yesterday we got 30 people connecting on the live. That is not my goal. That is me again separating from my ego. Even on this live, there's no one connecting. So that's not the point. I don't care about the likes, the engagement. I care about the money, and I care about the growth, right? Fame is not part of my agenda. Yes, I do want to have power, and I am getting power with that podcast and connections with really powerful people, and I am growing my audience, but that's not the point. Like most people's ego are just at the wrong place. They look at these Instagrammers. Who gives a shit about a million followers or listeners connecting on a podcast? Like most people, most followers are like followers. They're stupid. Like they're not my ideal customer persona. Me, I'm targeting founders, CEOs, mavericks, right? If I can get three of them to connect on a podcast, I'll be happy. That is my audience. So I don't. My goal is not to make you famous through podcasting. It's to make you money and to make you efficient, right? It's B2B only. I don't do B2C. None of that bullshit. Not about drama either, although you'll see some of my lives and me swearing and me focusing on some topics that are somewhat controversial. I believe these need to be talked about, but yeah, that's definitely not my focus. When I do a podcast, not like how can we make this incendiary, right, and make people freak out and these headlines. No, that's not my goal. By the way, I have AIs that do that for me, Opus. So yeah, bottom line, everyone should have a podcast. Everyone should stop kidding themselves and book a call with me just to discuss your thesis. You'll see pretty quickly that there's no other activity that will bring you as much. If you follow my newsletter, I did a bit of calculus here. My podcasting one, as per how much it brings. This last campaign, how much it brought me, and yeah, you can do some calculus here. You can quickly understand that there's very few activity that will bring you that much. If you're seeing my screen here, that's an estimated amount, right? And there's this. Maybe I should be more conservative. Maybe I should hype it up. Conservative because yes, the market is what it is, but also maybe I should hype it up because MRR is per month, right? 25K per month in 50 hours. So my LTV is at least 3 to 6 months, right? And I'm not talking about future business deals, because the end of my podcast funnel, once the client becomes my actual customer, I'm still filtering them. There's still a funnel going on, and it's called friendships, like slash business partnering, slash business partnership. So what happens after the pod? They should become my clients. Some of them, let's say a 5 to 10%, and I work with them. And then if I'm really bullish on their business, I'm just gonna invest into them, right? I'm just gonna work for them as if I was a partner, right? And I'm gonna take equity, and that's how I invest. I believe most of the VC game is bullshit. I literally worked inside their business for 3 to 6 months, and I know them. I'm fully transparent, so are they, and with that, I can know if their business is good or not. So this here is golden. This is my life insurance. This is my nest egg. This is my money cushion. You can call it whatever you want to call it. Me, I'm supposed to be spending my time on moonshots nowadays, like AI longevity and all of this. I'm sort of distracted by that, but I do believe this is still gonna bring me an amazing future. It's the best activity that I could do and that I know of in terms of efficiency to bring me massive dollars, billions, trillions in the future. This will bring me these relationships, right? When you work with someone for multiple decades and you complement each other very well, there's great chemistry. Like, you can do anything you want, right? And finding these co-founders, these great investment ideas, really hard. Okay, so this is also my nest egg. Anyway, I think I made a case for myself today. How many people connected? A couple. See zero here, but pretty sure some connected. I need to run. I have another webinar slash blog space I need to attend to for a client. But hope that video was pretty fun for you and clear as per the benefits of podcasting. You can do that too, right? You probably need someone to push you in the ass to do so and to get results